Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well guys, I'm getting more and more confident in my prediction, the prediction that I've been making for over a year at this point. Get ready and welcome to the Biden recession. That's exactly what it is, folks. We have been talking about it for a while, the writing's been on the wall. The goons in this administration continue to deny reality. The Fed continues to shift, but it's at the point, folks, where even these dishonest Democrats currently occupying the White House and the Fed chairman Jerome Powell, it seems as though they've put their hands up, they've given up, and they're now admitting the obvious, that a recession was inevitable and that it's here sooner than they expected. Well, obviously, Joe Biden and his awful policies was the fast track, the catalyst to a recession, and it seems as though we are finally in it, folks. And look, it's not something to celebrate, but it's just a reality. Brace for impact. The Biden recession is here. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so there's this video from Valuetainment that's moving around Twitter, and it's probably the perfect video to start this off.
Folks, if the definition of recession is 2 quarters in a row, the GDP slows down, today's what date?
I believe.
Today's what date? Today's
The 30th.
30th
of June.
Tomorrow's officially day 1 of recession.
Oh, shit.
If it's 2 quarters in a row, tomorrow is officially day 1 of recession, and watch no one talk about it.
Wow.
Watch no one talk about it till first quarter of 2023.
This is exactly what I've been saying, that we are already in a recession. If you look at the data when it comes to the housing market, if you look at credit card expenditure, retail sales, personal savings, you name it, everything is down. Consumer confidence hitting an all-time low. The economy in general slowing down, and last month showing negative 1.6% GDP. It started off at 1.4, but the third and final tally is now negative 1.6% GDP for the first quarter. The writing has been on the wall. The technical definition of a recession is 2 subsequent quarters of negative growth or economic contraction. And now the second quarter of 2022 is officially over. We don't have the first GDP number report, but what we do have is the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank, or the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, which is a group that assesses the GDP in real time. They have something called the Atlanta Fed GDP Now, and they are incredibly accurate with their real-time nowcasting model of the GDP. They almost always hit the nail on the head. Last quarter, they predicted negative 1.5, and it was negative 1.6 in the end in the final numbers. Well, I've reported on this number before, and I've been telling you guys, the further we get into the second quarter, the lower it goes. And officially, as of June 30th, 2022, the latest estimate from the Atlanta Fed GDP Now is negative 1%, and it could possibly go even lower than that because we still have another 30 days of economic analysis, and I believe it's going to go lower because things have been getting worse and worse and worse, especially in the last 30 days of the second quarter. Well, breaking folks, as we're editing this video, the Atlanta Fed just changed their prediction from negative 1% to negative 2.1% in the span of 1 day. 1 day made their prediction 2 times worse than it was the day before. The prediction now for GDP for the second quarter is negative 2.1% contraction. Unreal. June has been one of the worst months for the market in a very long time. And so at this point, folks, it's basically set. A recession is here, and if it's not here, if miraculously the GDP just shocks everyone, is actually +1 or +2, if it's not here now, it's coming early 2023 or late 2023, who knows? The point is, the current economic outlook right now is terrible. And the most frustrating point, which is something we've covered extensively, is the copium and hopium and frankly just the lying coming out of the Brandon regime. Folks, it was inevitable. I'm not a finance major, but even I was able to analyze and look into the data and see this one coming and prepare myself accordingly. With this administration, with all of the resources and all the inside information that they have access to, have been in complete denial of this economic downturn. And that, my friends, is disgraceful. Because in that scenario, you know who gets hurt? It's the average investor. It's the regular person who's going to work and not necessarily paying attention to the financial markets. They go on Twitter, they open up the news, they listen to Joe Biden speak, and from their perspective, it's the greatest economic recovery recovery of all time. Joe Biden's the greatest jobs president ever. Strong economic conditions. As What's-Her-Face says, or Karine Jean-Pierre says,
and right now, we don't see a recession. Right now, we're not in a recession right now. Right now, we're in a transition where we are going to go into a place of stable and steady growth, and that's going to be that's going to be our focus.
And just one more.
Slow, steady growth. She says that after an economic contraction of the first quarter, and now as we're headed into another economic contraction, and we're not even close to out of the woods yet. If next month we get June CPI numbers and they're above 8% or possibly above 9%, the Fed's going to have another emergency meeting. Interest rates are going to go even higher, and the markets are going to tank. People are going to lose so much of their retirement savings, more than they've already lost to inflation. And so the only thing that I've been asking for this entire time is for this administration to be serious about the risk, to actually inform the American people of what's going on. But instead, it's been a bunch of propaganda, a bunch of BS. They've denied reality, and they've made matters worse. That's all Joe Biden has done since he came into office. That's why it's the Biden recession. It's possible there would have been an economic downturn with Donald Trump, but it would not have been this bad. For Pete's sakes, even CBS can admit it.
Look, the problem is the economy overheated.
It overheated in part because the government didn't just inject money into the economy at the start of the pandemic, but again last year.
There'll be $1,400 checks.
Approving a record $1.9 trillion stimulus while interest rates stayed at historic lows.
In retrospect, the government should not have put so much money into the economy.
Joe Biden came into office infusing $1.9 trillion into the economy, into a red-hot economy, when it was completely unnecessary. People were already going back to work. The unemployment rate was already real low. It was bad fiscal policy. Then followed by the infrastructure plan, then the government spending package. That on top of the extra trillions that were printed, loaned out to the banks, and then loaned out by the asset class and institutional investors to create a massive real estate bubble. This thing has been a ticking time bomb from the start. Joe and his Democrat goons have made it worse, and they've also created a scenario where they haven't informed the public on the true risk, and when it blows up in their face, well, what do you think's going to happen? Is Joe Biden going to take responsibility? No, of course not. It's somehow going to be Putin's fault. Once again, Russia, Russia, Russia.
Ultimately, the reason why gas prices are up is because of Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. The reason why the food crisis exists is because of Russia. Russia not allowing grain to get out of Ukraine.
Russia, Russia, Russia. I mean, there has been so much gaslighting, so much shifting of blame, so much misinformation, just misguiding the American people, playing politics with people's livelihoods once again. It's been so incredibly frustrating. The messaging has just been terrible from this administration.
Is there anything else you can do to help bring down the cost of gas?
Well, first of all, let's just say that this is a very real issue. And we have to do something about it. And it's one of our highest priorities as an administration.
It's a very real issue, and we have to do something about it. Then Joe Biden the next day, Biden says Americans will have to stomach high gas prices as long as it takes to beat Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Ridiculous. One day Fed Chair Jerome Powell says,
So the U.S. economy is actually in pretty strong shape. So if you look back a year, the U.S. economy grew more than 5.5%. It was really the big reopening year. Mm-hmm. And so we had expected this year to be that growth would moderate to a more sustainable path. So if you look at the strength of the economy, households are in very strong financial shape. They've still got a lot of excess savings from forced saving from not being able to travel and things like that, and also from fiscal transfers.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell also says, we're going to have a soft landing. Fast forward to now, Jerome Powell says there's no guarantee that the Fed can avoid a hard landing. Markets crash. We're already in bear market territory. There's a small little dead cat bounce. And all of a sudden things are okay again. Oh, the bullish trend is back. And then of course it tanks again. Every single dead cat bounce over the last month. Oh, well, see, things aren't as bad as everyone's saying. Oh, the doom and gloom. Look, the market's up 3%. All the shorts have been liquidated, and then we're back to reality. Look, I don't know. I'm just a random guy who records videos at home in his underpants. I'm no Wolf of Wall Street, but I have a feeling we're not even close to the bottom of this bear market, of this recession. Joe Biden keeps talking about Russia and Putin's price hike. That's real. The devastating energy price increase from the current conflict in Eastern Europe, we're going to see it. Key words there, we're going to see it. I don't think we've seen it yet. The numbers are going to get real scary scary here, folks. Actually, just take a look at this chart right over here. Germany 1 year forward baseload electricity in euros per megawatt hour. Electricity rates are now up 6x in Germany. Energy prices are going to have a serious effect. The inflation spike from energy prices, I don't think it's even hit yet. This tweet from Now This isn't exactly aging well. Trump made some outrageous claims about German energy at the UN, and the German delegation's reaction was priceless.
Germany will become totally dependent on Russian energy if it does not immediately change course.
Well, it turns out that Donald Trump was right. Once again, everyone laughed at him. Liberal outlet Now This claimed that he was a joke, but of course he was right on the money. No one listened, and now it's going to be time to accept the economic fallout and consequences. Folks, I hate to say this, and I don't want to be a doomer or anything, but I have a really, really bad feeling about the economy over the next 2 years. Those of you guys who have been watching my videos for a long time, I've been calling this recession for over 2 years at this point. Basically, since the lockdowns, I said there's no way we're not going to have to pay a heavy cost in the future. But this administration and Joe Biden's handling of the economy has made me more and more pessimistic, and I think it's going to be a whole lot worse than a lot of us could have expected or could have predicted. Brace for impact. If now even Jerome Powell is saying that it's probably going to be a hard landing, well, it's probably going to be a very, very hard landing. Protect yourselves, folks. Do not overextend yourselves financially. Again, I could be wrong, but if the CPI numbers and GDP numbers that come out in mid and late July are as bad as I think they might be, you're going to be very happy if you made the right moves ahead of this potential downturn. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.